Welcome, everybody. I want to thank everybody. Today we are going to end a discriminatory policy in Colorado that essentially has the government telling you who you can and can't live with rather than people choosing their roommates for themselves. I want to thank Representative Mabry, Representative Rutinel, Senator Gonzalez, and Senator Exum for taking on this important issue. This issue is both a housing issue and a civil rights issue. It truly is both. For housing, the opportunity for people to officially be on a lease gives them protections, allows them to start establishing their credit, gives them the certainty that they get to live there. And of course, on a housing perspective, making sure that if there's sufficient room in a place that people should be able to live there, regardless of their relation with their roommates, whether they're cousins, whether their significant others are married, whether they're kids. It's none of the government's business. If they get along and they're roommates and they want to be able to have their leases and live there together, of course, Coloradans should be able to do so. I also want to thank Senator Dominic Moreno, now working over at the city, whose advocacy fighting for this last year helped bring us to this successful moment today. In my State of the State address, I talked about more housing now, how we can cut red tape, end discriminatory occupancy limits that harm renters. And I want to thank the sponsors for taking this step to remove artificial barriers to housing. It takes all of us working together to create more housing that Coloradans can afford. And this bill will help get rid of one of those artificial limits on housing that prevents people from being able to rent. With that, I will turn it over to Luis Castro and Sarah Wells, who are here today to share their personal experiences with occupancy limits.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Wells, and almost 9 years ago, my husband and I bought a large home in Capitol Hill and began filling it with people. We had a dream of living in community and sharing equity, a dream of creating a warm and welcoming place in the middle of an increasingly unaffordable city. That place, Queen City Cooperative, would later welcome teachers, nonprofit professionals, civil servants, artists, and eventually our young son. When we started, it was illegal for us to put even one person per bedroom in our large 7-bedroom home. And so we began advocating to change those rules at neighborhood meetings, in zoning subcommittee meetings, at city council, and ultimately, thanks to the support of the people here today, at the state level. Living in community has many financial benefits, but what has made it special for me and for my family is the connection, support, and care that we have in our daily lives because of the chosen family we have been able to create. With the passage of this bill, not only will our family finally be living legally in our home, but I'm excited to see many more communities form and take root in new homes, buying together, living together, and allowing more Coloradans a chance to live more fulfilled and connected lives. Thank you.
Hola, mi nombre es Luis Javier Castro Ortega, un poquito largo, pero me pueden decir Luis Castro. Soy de Obregón, Sonora, México, y he estado viviendo en Estados Unidos por 10 años aproximadamente. Tuve la suerte de obtener una green card de inmediato. También tengo la suerte de trabajar como intérprete en un distrito escolar y de vivir aquí en la preciosa ciudad de Denver en la casa cooperativa de Queen City con mi esposa. Cuando recién llegué a Colorado, fue la primera vez que supe de las leyes del gobierno acerca de con cuántas personas uno podía vivir. Se me hizo interesante. Yo en México crecí viviendo en comunidad, con un fuerte sentido de la familia y de la conexión con los demás. Ese sentido de comunidad me ha aportado mucha alegría y satisfacción y es algo muy importante para nuestra cultura. A medida que uno crece, lo bueno es que uno puede empezar a ampliar el concepto de la familia y no solo con la familia de sangre, pero con la familia que uno elige. Vivir con otras personas también es muy importante para mí desde el punto de vista económico, no solo porque amplía las oportunidades de vivienda para mi mujer y para mí, sino porque también nos permite estar más unidos y compartir recursos. Esto mejora nuestra calidad de vida al permitirnos tener acceso a una vivienda deseable, en un lugar agradable, con nuestra gente más cercana. Por estas razones y por más, le doy gracias al gobernador por firmar este proyecto de ley y a los legisladores por tomar esta importante acción que beneficiará positivamente a tantas personas y comunidades. Y por último, le agradezco a Sara por todo el esfuerzo que ha hecho. Gracias.
Esta nueva ley pone fin a los límites de ocupación y brinda a las personas la libertad de elegir con quién vivir. Es un derecho fundamental. Esta es una parte de nuestro trabajo para tener más viviendas que las personas pueden pagar en donde quieren vivir, cerca de empleos y autobuses y tren. Now I will introduce the lead house sponsor, Representative Manny Rutnell.
Wow, I didn't think I'd be following Jared Polis speaking in Spanish. That was quite impressive, I must say. I just want to elevate a couple things that I think Luis Castro brought up, and that this is a bill specifically to benefit a wide set of different communities. What you see behind me are folks representing the disability community, people of color, young people, people who have low incomes. This is a bill that's important to all of these groups and more. Let me just touch on two groups in particular, the environmental community and those focused on mental health and social isolation. This bill isn't just about addressing our affordability crisis, which is unbelievably important. It's also about making sure that we build and live in ways that are environmentally friendly, so that we share the environmental resources that we need to be able to live and thrive, so that we live closer to our workplaces and live closer to our friends and family. I also want to talk about social isolation, which I think is an issue that deserves more attention. Right now, we are in the midst of a loneliness epidemic. And bills like these allow us to live with the people that we consider family. My community, as Luis Castro was mentioning, the Latino community, often lives in multi-generational ways, which means that we live with distant cousins, aunts, uncles, their partners, and that means that discriminatory occupancy limits prevent us from living with the people that we choose to live with. And so I'm excited that this bill will finally allow us to legalize roommates. It's as simple as that. Excited about this, excited about all the folks that are behind me today, and so grateful for all the work that you've been putting into this for decades. Thank you so much.
Let's see what we have here. I represent Mabry next. Sorry.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. First, I just want to give a couple of shout outs. I see Melissa Mejia here. Thank you for all the work you did on this legislation. The folks at New Era led the public campaign behind this. I see folks from UNE here. And then I also want to give a shout out to Eleni Angelidis, who can't be with us here today, who did a ton of work helping us behind the scenes from the governor's office. So thank you all. Colorado is in the middle of an affordable housing crisis, and there aren't enough housing options to keep up with our growing population. I see this every day. Every day. When I'm not here in the Capitol, I'm typically across the street representing families who are getting evicted and getting displaced due to the rising cost of rents. And this issue, this legislation, will help with that. This is about the freedom to live with who we want to live with. It's about freedom of choice in housing. And in the middle of a housing crisis, local governments should not be limiting housing options. Arbitrary and discriminatory occupancy limits prevent people from living who they want to living with who they want to live with. And this bill is going to increase access so that we can have more affordable living options. I think it's been said over and over again, occupancy limits have a dark history rooted in discrimination, particularly in communities of color. And so I think just the fact that we're taking this on in such a big way, and we have the backing of the governor, we have so many people here, is such a great statement for our state that we're not going to stand up and continue to allow the history of discrimination in housing to have a legacy here in Colorado. We have a lot of work to do on that front, but this is an important step, and excited to be here. Thank you to everybody who worked on this. And I think I'm going to turn it over to Senator Julie Gonzalez.
I am not Senator Julie Gonzalez, but she is a great friend. Thank you all for being here. You know, I grew up in a very large family, one of 11, and the reason for this bill is what the governor said earlier, is to eliminate 21st century redlining discrimination among large families that choose to live together because of necessity. I grew up in a large family, a low-income family, and it was important for us not only to be together, but to stay together and work together and support each other, because that's what we did. Low-income families. I remember going to work at 14 years old, and whatever I made went back into the house. And so that was very, very important. So I'm grateful to be a part of this bill to eliminate this discrimination in the 21st century. And thank you all for your time. And now I will introduce Senator Gonzalez.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon. My name is Julie Gonzalez. I'm honored to represent Northwest and Downtown Denver in the Colorado State Senate. It has been an honor and a joy to be able to work alongside New Era Colorado, the Colorado Economic Defense Project, and so many others. Students, elders, folks across this state who have said, let us please repeal these outdated discriminatory policies and practices. We've done it here in Denver, and we've seen the benefit that allowing people to live and choose with whom they live in the midst of a housing crisis is incredibly important. Thank you, Governor Polis, for signing this bill into law today, and let's go forward and prosper.
Good afternoon. My name is Chase Cromwell. I'm proud to be here with you today. I'm a senior at the University of Colorado Boulder and the External Affairs President for CU Student Government. I'm here representing tens of thousands of students in Boulder and around the state. Being a college student in Colorado is amazing, but it's sometimes stressful balancing school, student government, and other activities. On top of the normal stresses of college life, I've had to deal with an entirely other set of challenges because of arbitrary and discriminatory occupancy limits. I'm allowed to live with my brother, but not my best friend. My senior year in college, right now, I live in a 5-bedroom house where myself and each of my roommates have our own room. Only 3 people are legally allowed to be on the lease, which meant that 2 of us are just hanging out quietly. This is extremely stressful, and we're afforded none of the legal protections that come with being on a lease. I'm entirely at the mercy of my roommates to pay rent on time, to be nice to each other, and to live safely. My situation is far from unique in Boulder, Fort Collins, and elsewhere in the state. I interact every day with students who live in these environments. We're all just doing what we can to go to school here and make ends meet. Thanks to this new law, we will no longer have to worry every day that our neighbors will report us, that the city will show up to count toothbrushes and pillows. As student government president, I want to have the opportunity to have a positive, constructive relationship with my landlord, with my city, and I finally get that chance thanks to this new law. Thank you, Governor Polis, for signing this important legislation, and to the bill sponsors for getting this done. I'll turn it back over to Governor Polis.
Great. Let's go over here and sign it.
I said Fort Collins. I think that's okay.
It's official. Congratulations. 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 It's official law of Colorado. No more occupancy limits.